Good morning, everybody. I hope that you're all having a great day, and welcome back to my channel for those of you returning, and welcome to all of you that may be new. Hopefully I will do something that will inspire each and every one of you. As my video yesterday, I showed you that I was going to be working on a steampunk lap book. My book is not dry, nor is it finished, but this was my base coat that I started with. I'm going for sort of an industrial, grungy steampunk is what I'm going for. And I've never done a steampunk theme, but I'm looking forward to it. I have found some beautiful, beautiful papers that inspired me. So I'm not really going to be attaching anything to this today. I'm really going to be making additional elements that are going to be added into this, you know, flips and all that kind of stuff. So that's what today is going to be about. I'm sort of scared to do anything as far as attaching anything or covering anything, because I have a few ideas primarily for my cover that I would want to do maybe before I cover this and start adding things. Plus, this still isn't completely dry. The glue didn't dry until this morning, and at like 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning, I was in here putting this first coat of paint on it. But anyway, that's that. I will give you a sneak peek, though. To cover my spine, I'm using this fabric that I rust dyed with rusty elements. So I'm going to be using some of that in the spine area. And right now my thought is to use some of it on the spine itself on the outside. So that's my initial thought, just based on some papers I'm looking at and some ideas I have for this. So that'll give you a little, I guess, insight as to where I'm going. A lot of this is probably not going to make sense, and I've spent hours this morning trying to organize so that this would go smoothly. And I thought today, as I mentioned before, I'm going to be making some elements that are being added to that as far as flips and pockets and different things that are going to be added to the base of the lap book. As I mentioned yesterday, the base of my book is made out of a Reader's Digest, and then I made these two flaps and these two small spines out of chipboard. I'll just give you rough dimensions because everybody may be working on a different size book, so I don't know how helpful dimensions are going to be. So this is just over 7.5. So about 7 5/8 long, and it's about 5 1/4 wide is what I'm working off of. I'm going to sort of set that there. That's still damp. But I'm just going to start cutting, and then I will show you the plan for what I'm doing and give you the dimensions after that, if that makes sense. Hopefully this will be helpful. So I'm using, as you can see, I guess the front flap of a file folder. Like normally it would be like that. And this is just separated off there. I have a plethora of used file folders that I had from my company when I owned my company. And believe me, I've been going through a lot of them. So I don't want people to think that I'm wasting them. I'm just using the portions that I need. The rest of the cardstock will be used eventually, if not in this journal, in other journals, you know, for journaling cards and the like. So it won't go to waste. I just I made some practice elements, I guess, to try to get in my mind if that's what I wanted or not. And so I've sort of altered them on what I'm doing today. I'm just going to get that down there out of my way. So for the first piece, you see I just cut it to the length I wanted and from here to here. Let me grab my scoreboard and I'll just show you. I feel bad the way I have to do this, but I wanted to work on it today, and this is the best way I know how to proceed since the other part's not done. So I am scoring at approximately 3/4 of an inch from what I just cut. And then I'm going to score at 5/8 of an inch and 1/2. And then on my first score line, I'm going to fold this. And on the last score line, I'm going to fold it. So that gives me a little flap. And what I intend to do is on the inside of this, that is going to be added here once I know what I'm doing here. And I thought that if I get all of my elements cut out, everything's going to have to be covered before we even think about adding pockets or whatever else we're doing to these. So that's my mindset. On the inside, and I'm not saying I'm sticking with this, but currently on the inside of this, I think I'm not 100%. I haven't decided 100%, but I'm thinking on the inside here, I'm going to mirror whatever I do on this side over on this side. That could change, but right now that's my mindset. Here, I am going to have two different elements for sure, but here, I'm thinking if I put whatever I put here, I may put over here type thing. Whatever I put here, I may do here. I haven't decided that yet. I sort of want to lay things out and then decide if that's how I want to proceed, but that's sort of where I am at this point. So this would be the first thing that I'm adding to that first flap. Excuse me. It is hot and the pollen count is extremely high today. So excuse me. That means even with my allergy medicine, it's still not comfortable. So the next thing, and I have enough here out of the bottom of the file folder that I cut this out of. I'm just going to cut this little piece. I think it's long enough. Yeah, it is. I just want to see, I'm not measuring a lot because I made some initial, like, I don't know if I'd call them templates, but something that, because the measurements are so odd and it was so hard to, like, I'm horrible at fractions and all that. pretty good, but I mean, it starts getting very confusing, and then it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna outline this. So basically, I have just cut a rectangle, I guess I would call it. And what's going to happen is I'm going to round this corner for sure. This is going to go inside of this, but there's going to, I already have a plan for what's happening with this piece. So it's not going to be this basic. These are my basic cuts. These are sort of my, my starting points, if you will. So this is going to be attached. This is going to be attached, but there's more going on with this. Okay? So, if you're going to mirror, you would cut out two. One for this side, one for that side. Also, inside of that, which this part is probably going to take me a little while. Get rid of some stuff here. Find the piece that I'm after, which is here. And I'm just going to, you can see all my notes, my measurements. I'm going to cut this off just anywhere. I'd rather it be too long at this point than not long enough. All right. Oh, yeah, I need the tab piece. So on this piece with the center tab is what I was after. I'm going to cut off 2 3/4 inches on both sides. And I tell you what really frustrated me. I'm probably just stupid, but where the measurement ends here, and you got this blank space, and then the 4s over here, it's like if you get to the 3.5 or something in between the 3.5 and the 3 3/4 mark, I don't know how you're supposed to accurately measure that out. That's what began with my issue, because I was starting to write down measurements, and then I was like, I don't even know what that is. I had to just keep cutting until I got to the size that I wanted. So anyway, I'm going to cut, let me cut this off. Let me just get rid of this down here so it's not interfering with me. I'm going to cut 2 3/4 of an inch off on either side of this file. Whoop. And then okay, so on that piece, I'm going to score a 1/2 inch on each side. Let me see. I need this to be tab piece. trying to remember my own. I think I needed this. Yeah. I need this to be 7.5 inches. Did I cut that 7.5? No, that's what I should have done. I had my note. I should have cut those at 7.5. So roughly there. All right. So this piece, based on my book, I have from here to here 7.5 inches. And I've scored both sides 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Now from the bottom, I'm going to score this at 6 3/4. Or, if you turn it this way, about approximately 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to lay this aside because that's part one of that. Lay that aside for just a moment. And on the front portion of the file, 3 1/4. Yeah, that's going to fit flat. So on this one, I'm going to cut 3 1/4 inches off of both sides. Yeah, that'll fit there. I can actually take a slither more off of each side. I'll show you here what. Alright. This is going to hook to the front of this. And then this can just be the 6, is it 6 3/4, I think. Didn't write that down. Well, I'm going to score this. This is about what? And it doesn't really matter either. Okay. So I'm going to start. I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch from the bottom. Just see where that lines up on this. Oh, I need to go much further. I'm actually going to come down to here. Just going to draw a little line. This is not an exact science with me. So I actually want mine about there. That's where I'm going to start. That's where I'm starting my score marks. At about 2 inches. And then I'm going to score 1/8 of an inch from it, 1/8 of an inch from it. I'm going to do that 3 times. Folding at the top. I'm going to add this to the front of this pocket is what I'm doing. And I just want to give it a little bit of leeway. Thinking. Yeah. And then I'm going to cut some of this off. Yep. Sorry about that. And I'm really sorry about not having like exact measurements. But you can basically see what I'm doing and adapt it to whatever size you may be making if you are in fact going to make this. Okay, so that's going to fit there. It's going to attach like that. Let me see, you know, quite honestly, I might just, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut the bottom. Yeah, I'm going to cut the bottom of this one off. Try to eliminate some bulk. This one. The one with the tab, I just cut the bottom off where I scored it. And I'm just going to attach this. You can see where I made all those score marks. I folded on the first one and I'm folding on the last one. And with this little piece here, I'm going to glue it to the bottom of the front. But first of all, I need to think this out. Yeah, I could glue that. Glued. These flaps are going to actually hook to the journal. And then here on the sides of these, I don't know if I want to use file folder for that. I think I'm going to use paper. I'm going to add some excuse me, I'm grabbing some tea stained paper. I'm going to cut this with my fancy measuring tool here. I'm going to figure out how tall I want it. I can bring it down. I'm going to put that paper. And I'm sorry, I'm just stacking my tools here. This is a real technical video. You haven't guessed that by now. I'm just going to cut. Well, that was really stupid of me. Instead of wasting that whole sheet of paper, I can just use this piece here. If I have enough. I may need it. I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to score. Let's just score. I'm going to score like 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch. I might do 1/2 inch. I'm going to score a 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/2. I'm just going to do a bunch of these. 1 3/4, 2. I think that's all I'm going to need to there. And what I'm going to do, and I think you already know, I'm going to cut on that score. This might need to be wider. It might need to be 1/2 inch, but it's not like I'm going to be storing. You know what? I am going to do 1/2 inch increments. I just think it's going to. Let's start over. 1/2 inch. 1 inch. 1 1/2. 2. 2 1/2. 3. 3 1/2. 4. And then I'm going to fold these back and forth, of course. We're just going to make little gussets on the side of that folder that's going on top of that. Did I set my timer? That would be a good thing. So then, I'm going to glue that there. Trying to figure out where I need. Okay. Just going to cut this. I'm going to cut angles. I don't know which angle to go. This way. I think. And this way. I'm going to do the same with this. Got a little bit wonky there, but that's okay. Stop. I'm going to turn you off and right back on. Okay, let me set my timer one more time. Start. Glue. I knew this was going to be like time consuming. That's why as I was thinking things through, I was like, maybe I should just mirror. That way I could do one on video and do the other one not on video. So I'm just lining this up on my edge here. And all it's going to do is make this folder expand. I'll line that up after I glue this one on. Putting it on the inside of the top, and then I already have glue on it, clearly. Oh, I didn't know that one had glue. Alright, whatever. Let me just straighten this little fold out here a little bit. And then I just want to line the pocket. And see how it has added space there. And, oh no, did I do that? I sure as heck did. I glued that down. And I'm going to need that little flap. Oh, Sheila, you're such an idiot. Cut that other flap off. Actually need it. Well, I could always just glue here, here, in the bottom. That's what I'm going to do. But this was my idea. On the inside here, I was going to have this pocket, which is going to be a pocket back here and a pocket here. This flap. So when you open it up, like that would be glued down first. Get that out of our life. That would go down. This would be, you would cover this and then place this pocket, which is going to have two pockets in one. This piece is going to be attached here, as I mentioned before, but there's other things that's going to happen with that first. So that's what I got going on so far for the first panel. And if I stick with my initial thought of mirroring it, I will do the same thing on this side. But of course, I'll turn my folder that way so that it opens out. So that's that segment. Let me see if I have time. I don't want to bore you to death with this, but at the same time, I know there are probably people that's going to want to see the process. So maybe I shouldn't limit myself to how many videos this is going to entail and just worry about doing a better job with the video and making sense for you all that are taking time to watch it. So let me get those out of the way. I'm going to try to see what do we have time for that. I had a few different things ready. And that, quite honestly, took a while. That one there's going to take a while. This idea here comes from Nick the Booksmith. And what she did, let me just paper clip these together. What she did was create basically 3 flips. Going to be a short one and then these 2. And then here there's going to be half a pocket. So let me show you how she did that. The easiest way for me to show you this. Let me just see something. Okay, yeah. I'm like, what do I mean by first piece? I have no idea. Easiest way to do this is to use a file folder. I'm going to leave it assembled. And I'm going to cut it right where I measured. because that is going to be the proper height for the journal that I'm working on. I'm trying to save some of this, and I'm going to cut on this line here. This cutter is horrible. I'd never, ever buy another Fiskars. I've always had nothing but problems with them, to be quite honest. Other people use them with no issue at all. And I'm sure it's probably the user, not the product. I hope I didn't destroy that. I was trying to save part of that file folder. What I was trying to do. Alright, so on the first piece, just this. Oh, Sheila, you are such an idiot. Let me see. Well, let me cut this piece. Second piece. Oh. Needs to be cut here. There's one piece. This piece is going to be scored, right? Because I need these to be trying to line up the tabs so that they're even at the top. It's not going to be earth-shattering if they're not. So I'm just going to mark on this second piece where I want to score at. Okay, I have 15 pencils out. What do I do with my... Can it go any worse? There it is. Of course, it's under the scoreboard. Alright, so I'm going to score about 1 inch. And 1 1/8. Alright, then let me just make sure these are lining up pretty good. And then the last piece I need, which hopefully I have enough left out of this, is you're going to cut a piece the same height and approximately, I'd say 2/3. You can judge how long you want this flap to be. That's where I chose to have the flap. You can choose how long you want the short flap to be. I'm not going to cut out another one. I'm not going to put you through that agony. So I'm going to get rid of this for now. And what she did, she used packaging tape. And she put these roughly 1/8 of an inch apart. Well, I just pulled mine off. try to line these up again. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the thing with making a junk journal. You're just trying to ease the motion of the flap, is what the idea is. So you're just going to put a piece of tape there, flip it over and do the same on the back side. Oh, of course, my tape. I feel like this is just a mess. Let me get this back up through here. Stay. I'm just gonna tape this side too. And you know, all of this is going to be covered. I'm just going to cut that off. I don't think I want to fold it over. It's pretty strong with those two pieces of tape. I'm going to have to wear that down so the thing will stay open. We'll figure that out. Alright, and then she taped these two together. She scored twice, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know why, but I did it, and I know I'm going to tape to this first score mark. Oh, wait a minute. That's not going to be right. I'm going to have to go this way. Get my tabs in the right places, right? So you're going to have... Oh, great. So you have the two tabs. Tape on the floor. And do that. So I have the one with the flap and the one with the small edge, which this is going to attach to the journal. And then, you know, we'll be covering, of course, the inside of the journal. So I'm just going to line these up, but then I'm going to see, because they're not going to stay, especially this one with the little flap attached. Well, I think this tape is a good idea. I think this tape is also brutally strong. Alright, let me put that there. Let me try to get a gap here. What's going on? Crooked. Come on, Sheila. Get it together. I had it lined up good. And then I started fussing with the tape. Again, mine is not perfectly lined up, so I'm going to do it that way. How about that? I'm going to line my top and bottom up better. make sure I just have a fraction of that inch apart. I still don't have it perfectly straight. I'm going to do this a third time, but I'm going to turn it this way so maybe I can get things lined up. Here's the top. There's the bottom. Wow, that was something. So this will go here. You'll have 1, 2, 3, and then a half pocket here. You'll have the double pocket here, expandable pocket. You'll have this flap and what we're going to do on the inside here. The fun part is actually going to be when we get to the decorating portion, of course. Here, several videos that I've watched, people have put eyelets in so you could attach a journal. And I think that's the route I'm going to take. At least that's what I'm thinking. And then at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to mirror what I'm doing here. That could change between now and tomorrow. I have 2 ideas for these. I don't think I have the time. I have 9 minutes, and I don't think I can do it in 9 minutes. That's my problem. I go too slow. But let me give you a rough idea of what I'm going to do, and then tomorrow I'll share it. On one of these, I'm going to make a pocket. This is going to attach. It's going to be a pocket. This will flip down. This is going to be a pocket. I'll cut a half moon or whatever you call it. I'm going to have a side tuck here, add something here and here as we're decorating. So it's going to be flip, you know, probably a pocket on the front, a pocket inside, side pocket, a big pocket. So that's what I plan to do there. I think I have been so unorganized for you all. I apologize that you've probably absorbed all that you can tolerate. So tomorrow I'll make one of these, and I have another idea for this side. I don't think I want 2 of these on here. But that will give us the base elements that we're adding inside the journal. Once we do this, I'll decide between now and then if I'm mirroring the inside. And then we can start with the fun part of the journal. Maybe I'll think it over. I don't know, like on lapbooks, I just sort of, maybe it's the way I think in my head, but I sort of like the consistency of this side, even though it's opening in a different way, it's consistent with this side, rather than doing something completely different on this side and this, I don't know, to each his own, but that's sort of what I'm thinking in my head. So that's why I'm sort of on the fence, because it's like I don't want to bore you to death, but at the same time, what I feel comfortable with, I guess, design-wise, is having it consistent on the inside. but we'll see. Okay, so that's all I'm going to bore you with today. Tomorrow we'll attack this and the other element that I want to put on. Well, I don't know if this will go here. Excuse me, here or here. But I'll decide what I'm putting on both places. We'll do those. And should be ready to start attaching. I don't know. I may decide to, like, I was trying to think what would be the best way to do this. It might be easier to cover these items before you attach them. Because once you have them in the journal, then you're struggling with the journal to cut around and all that. So maybe that's what we'll start on tomorrow as well. The last two elements, and maybe starting to actually cover some of these things. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you all very much. I'm very sorry for the disorganized. As much as I tried to be organized, I certainly feel like this has been unorganized. So I hope that it is perceived differently than how it is in my head. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day, and happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.